We continue along here on Three Dog Thursday, and it has kind of become a tradition now, the video roundtable, and I am thrilled to have my guest panelist this week, longtime National Football League writer and insider, multi-time books, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter as well, Jason Cole, back with me on the Three Dog Thursday podcast. Captain, how you feeling?
Fantastic.
You look fantastic. You look relaxed. This is good. We got an NFL season looming. We want to talk to him about that. Also with me, Danielle McCartan. Love me some Danielle out of New Jersey, the New York, New Jersey area. Does a bunch of fill-in work with WFAN. Works as well on game days with the New York Giants for the upcoming football season, as well as other endeavors. Coach McCartan, good to have you back on the podcast.
Thanks, TJ. Well, we're hoping for this upcoming season with the Giants. We have not heard anything just yet, so
we will remain hopeful. I noticed Danielle rocking the Yankees outfit. Yep, we'll get to that coming up. And the other dapper gentleman to join the lady here, although I'm considering myself dapper, and I'm not sure, even though I'm pimping the Ocoee River rafting that we did a little while ago in the summer on the Tennessee-Georgia border today. He is dapper in the hat. He's Will Haskett with me from Indianapolis, Indiana. Will, multifaceted broadcaster and play-by-play, including Sirius XM Radio's PGA Tour coverage. Will just worked the Rocket Mortgage Classic this past weekend in Detroit, where Bryson DeChambeau won. Good to have you, sir.
Hey, God bless the new world, man. I can just put a hat over the pool hair and we just get on rolling because people just don't care what we look like in the biz anymore. I'm loving life.
Exactly. I'm rocking the COVID lack of haircut. We've been in the pool today here in Florida. Danielle says it's raining in New Jersey, although it looks sunny out your window. I don't know what's up with that. And Mr. Cole is cool anytime out of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to it in terms of the National Football League and everything that has been transpiring. Okay, so first things first, Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about that situation. Jason Cole, to you first. We're looking on the screen, at least I hope we're seeing on the screen, that Patrick Mahomes gets the new deal from Kansas City, very similar to Jason Cole's last deal that he did working in the NFL, 10 years, $400,
a little short of that.
$50 million guaranteed. And look, by comparison, as Adam Schefter tweeted out here, we've seen other athletes making $300, $350, Mike Trout making $400 million. What do we make of the Super Bowl champion quarterback Mahomes, who's what, Jason, 24, 25 with this kind of massive deal? It's the new highest paid deal in the NFL. What do we make of it?
I think this is one of those outlier deals that you're not going to see a lot of other teams try to replicate. I mean, that's the thing that I hear from people is, oh, what does this mean for Deshaun Watson? What does it mean for Dak Prescott? I think it's a really aggressive deal on the part of the Chiefs to try and get control of the best player in the league for 10 years at one time. They did pay a guaranteed premium. I think it's $180 million by March of 2023 that they're going to be in for in this contract. Okay, but that's a pittance compared to what he's worth. And over 10 years, $500 million could be a bargain for Patrick Mahomes after 10 years, if he gets that far. All right, so there's a lot of ifs to it. All right, but he's clearly the best quarterback in the league. You're going to pay that kind of money for this kind of talent. You're going to pay for him, especially now. He's in a place to maybe win another title or two in the next 3 to 4 years with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. You've still got Tyreek Hill. You've still got Travis Kelce. You brought in Hilaire to go with Damian Williams. So you have a lot of parts together to try and make a little run here. And so you want to keep that all together. But when people talk about Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott, I don't see the appetite for those teams to want to pay the kind of guaranteed money you need to get control of a player for 10 years. And I'm not sure that the players themselves are going to sit there and say, oh, I'm willing to tie myself up for 10 years without getting that kind of money.
Another good point. Danielle, will go to you next on this, that obviously Mahomes has done something that Watson and Prescott have not, which is not only win a playoff game, but win a Super Bowl. And there's more stability, I think, there with head coach, with Andy Reid. What are your thoughts on Mahomes agreeing to this mega deal that locks him up if both sides want this, and the Chiefs clearly would want this for a decade? What about it?
Well, there's good 10-year contracts or long-term deals, and then there's bad ones. On that screen that you showed, let's talk about the New York Yankees picking up Giancarlo Stanton's contract. Like, that is a head scratcher. I mean, come on, man. So let's not even go there. But speaking of Patrick Mahomes, I mean, the guy is clearly the best quarterback, like you said, Jason, in the NFL. I talked to Phil Simms once, just in passing, and he said that Patrick Mahomes is the best technically sound quarterback in the NFL. And that has translated, as we've seen, to a Super Bowl victory and many more to come. They've got a great structure in place there in Kansas City with the team that's around him, with the head coach, and with the ownership. They are going to be going places for a long time to come in the AFC. And the best part about this deal, in my opinion, is the fact that like Patrick Mahomes was able to structure, and they were able to structure the deal so that there is money left over for other players on the team around him. So many times we see these macho, massive contracts, like the Mike Trout contract. I know there's no cap in baseball, but when you look at the talent around him, it's not the best. But Mahomes is now tied into the salary cap, and he'll be getting his raises, I guess, as I understand it, in that way, so that they can continue to grow the team around him and put the best team around him and the best supporting cast. And for that reason, Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be on perennial playoff boards, perennial Super Bowl, the top of those lists every single year for the next 10 years.
I was just thinking this. The teams that hate it would be what? The Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders, because they're going to see a lot of him, Will Haskett. Real quick, your take here on Mahomes cashing in as an AFC. You're in an AFC market there in Indianapolis, young man.
It's a lot of money. I mean, just go ahead and get yourself some of that money, kid. I mean, it's incredible, really, when you think about it. But generational arm talent, I mean, I think when you look at somebody who is completely different and worth it, and then the other thing about it, too, is, like, you can't compare across sports, but when you flash the graphic, Mike Trout, if you're an analytics guy or a baseball guy, you know how good of a player he is. But in that market, what it's done to that team, the ability to be relevant, and then as kind of the face of the league, like, he's never really been the face of Major League Baseball. Like, Patrick Mahomes is also the face of the entire league. And I understand it's one team that's on the hook for all of the money, but everything makes sense there. Now, the only question there is we saw him hobbled around and beat around in the Super Bowl. And I understand that he has the ability to probably evolve better than most quarterbacks, like we were talking about with like Deshaun Watson type. But 10 years is a long time. You don't know what's going to happen in a 10-year window of time. So I almost say kudos to him more than necessarily kudos to the team for locking in that long term of a deal, because 10 years is a long time. But of all the players, yeah, it makes total sense. He would be the one that walks away with $500 million.
Let me lean on the sage wisdom of Jason Cole. A lot of times when you see these numbers, they look bloated. They are bloated. And in reality, this may be like a 5-year deal or a 6-year deal, and then they go to rework it, both sides, right? Fair? Yes, real quick?
Rework it, no. Get out of it, yes, depending on what happens. I mean, if he gets injured somewhere along the line, there are opportunities for the Chiefs to get out of it. It's tied up, though, that they have to pay roster bonuses along the way that they're going to have to keep him for probably 2 years at a time if that happens. I would say this on this side of it. He gets a big chunk of change up front. And so he's going to get $180 million over the next 4 years. All right. He's worth it. They've already made that money. All right.
Right.
That's paid off. So you don't have to worry about them earning it. But again, $180 million is a great deal for him for what a player who could be worth $600 or $700 million or $800 million even on the cap if you were to just play it out for 10 years. I mean, really, that's what we're saying here. They bought out his entire career. Yes, they paid a premium, but by year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of this deal, it could be a bargain with the growth of the cap.
Yeah, as ridiculous as that sounds, it might very well be. That's the voice of Jason Cole. Again, I make mention, you may be hearing us only on the podcast through Apple Podcasts, through Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts. Find the YouTube page, find the video here through a social media link, etc. You can see Jason Cole, you can see Danielle McCartan, you can see Will Haskett kicking around here on the video roundtable that we've been doing the last few weeks in the summer on Three Dog Thursday. Subscribe, as always, to the YouTube channel, and you can see us and hear us. But if you're listening only, that's how you find us. All right, so Danielle, let's go to you and go to subject number 2, and that is near and dear in your market. Baseball is slated to return coming up, and the New York Yankees have begun to work out in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. We are looking at the Yankees right now on the video feed with an inter-squad game that is being televised by the Yes Network the other night. So the major league teams have begun to work out. There's coronavirus testing. There are some positive tests. There are guys opting out. Danielle, I know you're optimistic. I know a lot of baseball fans are optimistic that we're going to get some baseball. Give me your thoughts, though, here on getting to see the Yankees out working out. Give us the vibe. What do you think? And tell me more about what we're watching here.
Well, you know you're a really big baseball fan when you're watching a live coverage of an inter-squad game in which there are varying levels of fielders in the field. I mean, I watched it and there were no outfielders. There were no infielders the other night. And you know what, though? People are glued to it. Last night, Garrett Cole pitched, and Miguel Andujar lit him up for a home run in right field, first pitch swinging. So I don't know if that bodes poorly for Cole or really well for Miguel Andujar. So that's kind of where we're at here in the Yankee market. And then not to mention the Mets. And you know, I think the Mets and the Yankees are both beneficial by this shortened season. Hopefully they'll get it off the ground. Hopefully they can play their 60 games. And I think that the only thing that we should really be talking about in asterisks is only if the Houston Astros win the World Series. That's the only asterisk here.
She gets the dig in on the Astros on that. Yeah.
The Dodger fan, I agree.
Yeah,
he's a Dodger fan. Yeah, I didn't know that about Cole. He's a Dodger fan. Keep going, Danielle. Finish.
They are the luckiest ducks of this entire season because they're not going to have to hear it from the fans in the stands. I mean, maybe the Astros created COVID. Who knows? I'm just being facetious. But I'm just saying that, you know, the Mets and the Yankees are in prime positions, and the Yankees have such a great starting pitching lineup rotation, and they've got all their players back from injury. Stanton is back. Judge is back. Hicks is back. Paxton's back. I mean, the Yankees are in business, everybody. And those players were not expected to be back until now on the calendar. And then let's look at in Queens and the Mets. The Mets have such a young, talented roster. They've got Jacob deGrom going for his 3rd Cy Young Award, is like historic. And they've got Alonso. And just go down that roster. I mean, and the best part about this whole season for the Mets is that they have a universal DH now. The Mets have 2, not 1, 2 built into their roster.
I thought you were going to say the best part about the Mets and the 60-game season is they won't be out of it in August. That's the line that we keep uttering. They'll still be in it no matter what, and neither will the Marlins. Will Haskett, your thoughts? I know you're in the Midwest. I honestly don't know your baseball allegiance or if you have any, but give me some insight. It's Cubs, right? Go ahead.
Oh, the one team that I actually live and die with, the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, you know, everybody is excited about a 60-game season because anything is possible, right? As a Cubs fan, you're like, man, John Lester can stay strong for 60 games. You know, he's going to break down for a full season, but heck, he's going to be able to bulldog his way through a whole season. Got Schwarber hitting DH, even though they claimed David Ross claimed he's going to be playing in left field. I'll believe it when I see it. We're going to be seeing Schwarbs on the left side of the dish most of the season in the DH spot. So I think everybody has hope, and I think the other hope of it has to do within sort of this COVID uncertainty. We've seen sports, obviously from my perspective, from a golf standpoint, we've seen sports that are individually run, able to sort of exist in these bubbles. And while the NBA, and I think very much so the NFL, are now extremely worried about the futures of their sports over the next couple of months, the thing that baseball has in a little bit of a built-in advantage is it's kind of socially distant will allow, I think, from a competitive advantage or disadvantage standpoint, the opportunity for guys to slide in and out for a week or so at a time if we end up with some positive tests when competition actually gets started. So it's really sad it took so long and baseball can't get their ish together to figure out how to get on the actual field a little bit sooner than what ended up happening. But everybody got to this point. I think it's in the best shape of the team sports to be able to see it all the way through. And every single fan base, I think, should be a little bit excited because you have hope from day one until the end of the season. Because you're right, like the Marlins could actually make a run, which sounds crazy to think, but anything can happen over 60 games. Anything can happen. Well, maybe
Jason's a former South Florida guy, and he's saying it's over for them no matter what.
It probably
but the good news is
right.
they cannot be mathematically eliminated till at least like August 15th. That's Will's point. They are still mathematically alive if you have them already dead. Or not. Hey, quick opinions. Jason, Danielle, and Will, is baseball going to be able to get it underway and get it finished here in the time frame that they want to? Because they've already had issues with testing, et cetera, et cetera. I see your fingers crossed. Mr. Cole first. What do you gauge it at?
Look, I'm not expert enough to tell you whether this is going to work or not. Right? Nobody is. All right. Even the people who are experts can't predict this enough. We're all hoping, okay, because we want to see something that makes us happy. All right, we need that in this country right now. We need something that's a distraction. So I hope it works. Baseball, again, I think Will's on the mark. The baseball has the best chance because you do have some built-in social distancing into the game, but that's still no guarantee, especially with the number of positive tests that we've seen so far. So we got a lot of questions. I hope it happens. I'd love to see some kind of sports, any kind of sports at this point in time. That I really, truly love. So, yes, I've got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping beyond hope that it'll happen. And I do think it's going to be an interesting baseball season because San Diego Padres, Tampa Bay Rays with great bullpens, teams that have deep pitching staffs and great bullpens, lots of arms, have great opportunities in this season because it doesn't matter if you have a great rotation or if you have this great lineup. You just need to go game by game to get through it. So I think it's going to be a fabulous short season. It's not what we're built to necessarily be used to, but I'm hoping it happens.
Wonderful. Danielle, quickly gauge it. 50-50 chance they get all the way through, get it going, 75-25. Are you more optimistic than that, real quick?
Oh, let me channel my inner Dr. Fauci. I'm going to go that they are going to get about 85% of the games done.
She got the impersonation. You don't have the gray wig and the glasses though on the impersonation, but she did pull it off. Will Haskett, how optimistic that they're going to at least get most, if not all of it in?
I'm just glad Dr. Fauci's allowed at this briefing of these four minds today because that's unlike some other places in this country right now. Again, it's irresponsible for us to even try to assign a percentage to it. I'm hopeful, and I think if there's one thing that we've seen is that many spots and businesses in this country are open to trying to stay safe to see things to a completion. So if you look at it, the business down the street that's building widgets, they went back to work because they needed people to work. And they're hopefully trying to do all of the safe things. The best thing about professional sports is they're going to be held to a higher standard when it comes to health and safety than maybe a privately held company down the street. So we know there's going to be safety protocols in place. And I think we're more accepting of the fact that there could be mini outbreaks here or there. Could there be a major outbreak that shuts it down? Absolutely. Could there be locations where guys can't play? I mean, could you imagine right now where it's crazy in Arizona with cases by the day, the Diamondbacks showing up to play a game in a month in a town that allows fans into the stands because their local restrictions are different. I mean, there's so many variables that could pop up, but I'm optimistic. I would say I'm more optimistic than pessimistic because I think people are just trying to find whatever way we can to get things to the finish line so we can keep moving forward and put people to work.
Again, wrapping it up here, talking with Jason Cole, Danielle McCartan, and Will Haskett on the different subjects. It's Three Dog Thursday, not only video show, but podcast as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But if you're only hearing us, once more, the plug, if you're only hearing this, find it via YouTube, see the video, go to a social media link that will have the video, and you can see what we look like while we're discussing this. All right, so Will, I also have you on here. You're a great resource on a lot of things, including the play-by-play that you just did of the Rocket Mortgage Classic, the golf tournament in Detroit, the PGA Tour event. You were there and were working that golf event, won by Bryson DeChambeau, who is a star. Yes, muscles all the way for DeChambeau. There's no question about that. So, again, let's talk a little bit about him here, and I hope that everybody is seeing the before and after. So DeChambeau, a former U.S. amateur champion, a former NCAA champion, has now won multi-times on the PGA Tour, won this event in Detroit. But the bigger subject is how much bulk he has put on. He is doting by protein shakes and caloric intake. He's clearly bigger. He's clearly hitting the ball farther. Will, you were there. What do you make of the physical transformation for DeChambeau, who was already an amazingly talented golfer? He's just now pounding the drives even farther. What do you make of all of this, please?
Yeah, I'd give him a 4th round grade as a linebacker, to be honest. I mean, maybe he could slip up into the lower 3rd if he want to be draft eligible for next year. No, I mean, he's a big boy now. I mean, he has taken it to the extreme. I mean, 6 protein shakes a day, 4 eggs for breakfast, eats whatever he wants, 3 workouts a day. I mean, I wish I had the time in my life to work out once a day. He's finding a way to work out 3 times a day and hit golf balls in practice. But what people have to understand about Bryson DeChambeau, and anybody in your audience that doesn't follow golf, is that Bryson DeChambeau has always been the ultimate tinkerer. He is not happy unless he is almost uncomfortable in terms of his thought. I mean, this is a guy that thinks about barometric pressure when he's getting ready to pick which club he's going to hit out of his bag. He's always messing with equipment. So it's no surprise that he's the one who also happens to have a frame on his body to be able to add all this weight. It was ridiculous walking around with him all week, seeing how much farther he hits it than the other guys in his group. I mean, he makes guys who hit 290 look short because he's out there bombing at 350, 360. And I'm a data and analytics guy, and you know that, TJ. And there's strategy behind what he does. It's not just smash and go. It is statistically proven with all the data the PGA Tour has started to accumulate over the last 2 decades that the farther you hit it, even if it's a little bit offline, the better chance you give yourself to score. So he's exploiting what we're learning about the competitive advantages in golf for those who hit it farther. That's why Tiger was so different when he originally came out, why Jack was good back in the day. It's not just about modern day equipment. Long players have always been better because you're getting it closer to the hole. The thing that's amazing about him from a physiological standpoint is as hard as he is swinging the golf club, as fast as it is, and all the stuff he's changed, he's really not lost that much accuracy. And when he does miss a fairway, he's missing it in the right spots. There's one thing about missing it right and having no angle to a hole location on the green. If it's back right, he's hitting the drive in the left rough if he misses, which means he's opening up shots. So it's really remarkable. Most guys, I've never seen so many other tour pros stop to watch one guy hit a golf ball. I saw a guy peeking over the fence on his way to the car after his round was over with on Friday to watch Bryson hit a tee shot on 10. Like other pros are talking about it. So there's a lot of respect out there for what he's doing. It's crazy how much longer he's gotten. It's the story in golf right now.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Like, do they PED test in golf?
They do.
And number 2, like, do you like if this is the way that the metrics are going to go, are they going to have to build bigger courses?
That's another great question. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, it's 2 separate. To me, it's 2 separate conversations, right? Because we can dial back equipment to make the ball go a little less far if we are worried about the sustainability of golf courses. And when that happens, Bryson is still going to find a way to swing it faster than everybody else. So will guys get up to this place where they're able to swing at his speed? I don't know how many guys could actually get there and sustain it and continue to try and do it. Will we see different players try and get into the game? Will we see more 6'4" guys learn how to have touch and learn how to putt who can then put on, 225, 230 and be muscular, athletic sort of guys? I mean, watch this week, the charity event out in Tahoe, and watch some of the NFL players that swing it effortlessly really, really hard. I mean, great athletes can move the golf ball out there, but can they master the other 13 clubs in the bag? That's the real question. So I think there's 2 answers to that question. Do we need to shorten it because we're running out of land to build golf courses on? That's one conversation. Will we see guys swing it less, or will we see guys change? I think it's no to the second question, and I think the jury's still out in the first question, depending on what the USGA and governing bodies do to try and reel this back in if we feel like we're running out of ballpark space.
Hey, speaking of reeling it back in, I will try to do that just for 1 second. Tiger Woods, they were trying to tiger-proof the courses, right, guys? I mean, Danielle, you're a little younger, but they were trying to tiger-proof everything in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Dustin Johnson hits it a long way. Rory McIlroy hits it a long way. It's just that the DeChambeau's physique has people asking questions, and there's hints around about the PED stuff. Brooks Koepka was alluding to it, the multi-time major winner, that there's some question marks about it. He's got to answer for that, DeChambeau, as this goes along. One more quick thing, Will. The news is confirmed today. The Ryder Cup, which is the U.S. against Europe in golf, is not going to be played at all this year. That's a bummer. I wanted to see it even without fans, just for the entertainment on TV. Give me your opinion, just real quick here on this, not having it.
I've come full circle. I was with you a couple of months ago. It's like, let's have as many sporting events as possible. Let's be excited about things. But if there's one event in golf where the fans really, truly matter, it's the Ryder Cup, because it does give teams a little bit of a home course advantage, and it's part of the tournament. Like, I love not having fans out on the golf course last week. I can zip around, I can see the golf, and I'm not getting any way. There's no Baba Booies and mashed potatoes and all this other sort of stuff being screamed. Like, selfishly, it made my job a lot easier.
Yes.
And I think it's fine for the players. Now, it hurts the local tournaments because there's a lot of charitable giving and concession sales, and we have to get back to finding ways to make these money makers for the local organizing tournaments. But I think the Ryder Cup is the one where the feel of the event wouldn't be the same without fans. And you can say that for maybe some of the majors. Like, will the Masters have fans when we finally tee it up down there? What is it, November? Yeah,
November coming up, right?
The Masters. Like, who knows where we'll be from a standpoint. I could see I could watch the Masters on TV without fans and be totally fine with it. Some might not be, but I think the Ryder Cup was finally the one that crossed over where more people, and especially the players, a lot of the players didn't want to be a part of it without fans.
Here's the crazy thing as we get ready to wrap up. The U.S. Open usually plays in June. It's going to play in September and be the lead-in, essentially, to NFL football on that Sunday. The Masters, the same thing on CBS, the tradition. It's
not
never
on Fox, though.
Yeah, yes.
we were worried about
whether Fox was going to do the U.S. Open,
Not
right? And
anymore.
they've gotten out of it. But at least on NBC, they can show it during the day, and NBC will have football later that night for the U.S. Open golf. But the Masters on CBS will lead right into the NFL, theoretically, in November. So we've got that coming as well. All right, before I get out of here, one comment each. We'll go ladies first. Danielle McCartan, anything you want to riff on? Maybe you've been in isolation. You've been cooking something. You've got a new book that you like. I don't know what it is. Anybody that wants to riff on anything, you got 30 seconds. Go, Danielle.
All right, my first point I want to make is I feel like we've seen this story before when we've seen the skinny guy become the muscular guy, and I'm going to point to Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire.
That was PEDs.
Oh, yeah. There's no question.
We've seen that, but I've been playing a lot of video games in quarantine.
What are you playing? Confess. What are you playing?
Right now I have my
NBA 2K. What do you got going there? You the Knicks? You're the Knicks?
No, I was drafted by the Knicks, but they were so terrible that I had to get out. Now I'm with the Mavericks and Kristaps Porzingis, former Knick as well.
All right.
But otherwise, I've been just running every day, doing some exercising, and staying in shape.
You're good on that. Jason Cole, to you, sir. What do you got going on? Anything you want to riff on? What's up?
Remodeling in the back. You see a lot of stuff behind here. We have new floors in the house. We've taken down trees in the garden.
Oh, my God.
Repainted this back room. It was all navy blue before. I can actually work back here.
Wait a minute. The walls and everything around you was navy blue?
My wife has been kicking my butt for the last 4 months. That's great. But the good news is my John Elway biography is coming out in September 15th. Elway, A Relentless Life. Coming out September 15th.
I know you have been telling me privately that you were working hard on this book. So yes, coming in September, and
years.
People have to appreciate how amazing Elway was. And he maybe could have been a baseball player. And I have a feeling that's in the book, just as a plug.
Oh, big chapter. Danielle enjoyed it about the Yankees and Stein.
There we go. Elway could have been a Yankee, Danielle. Will Haskett, what have you been up to with the kids? You've been in the pool. What else is going on besides working golf? Rant on anything you want. The floor is yours.
I feel like I'm not going to enjoy the chapter in Jason's book about when he turned down my Colts, but nevertheless, that's not going to be any fun. Yeah, you know what? It's been, I mean, the perspective that the last few months has given everybody about, everything. I mean, to be able to have time at home has been pretty special. And for those that don't follow me on Twitter, my kids have sort of invaded anything that I do from a social media video standpoint. So
yes.
we've been making all sorts of either satirical mockumentary content or actual real content with the kids. And the sad reality of it is that videos with my kids in it get 10 times the views of my actual hard-hitting factual
because the audience has figured out they're 10 times smarter and better at it than you. That's what
I'm
that's
writing
the
all
danger.
their lines though, but I'm the one writing the stuff for them, and yet somehow people think that anyway, it's been kind of fun, and I'm really fortunate that I happen to work almost predominantly in a sport that's come back a lot sooner than others. So I know a lot of people out there are hurting, and I know that those of us in the media get to cover it, kind of have outlets to it, and so to all those people who rely on the day-to-day game ops and all those other sorts of things, like, we are thinking about you, and we hope that we can get back to something pretty soon, because the trickle-down effect in this industry has been hard to a lot of different places. So for those of us that are able to talk about it with a smile on our face, we should all be thankful for that every day.
We are all trying to be smiling on this. We'll have to leave it right there. My thanks to Will Haskett. My thanks, who's in Indianapolis. My thanks to Danielle McCartan in New Jersey, to Jason Cole in North Florida. Look for the Elway book coming out. Guys and gal, great job here on the Three Dog Thursday video roundtable. I appreciate it. Great stuff. Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks for having me, TJ.
And my thanks also to Brian Edwards, our handicapper earlier on the podcast. Subscribe away. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. Find the podcast. Again, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Find us on video as well. For now, I'm TJ. We're done on this edition of Three Dog Thursday. Bye.